Welcome to this video. My name is Felix Kunda. As usual, we'll continue with public relations, and today we'll look at propaganda and public relations, how you as a public relations practitioner can use propaganda. Now, propaganda is a form of communication that attempts to achieve a response that furthers the desired intent of the propagandist. So propaganda in the most neutral sense means to disseminate or promote particular ideas. So here what we mean is, if you're a public relations practitioner and you are disseminating information, the information, when you talk about propaganda, you are propagating your own ideas. And some of the examples that relate to propaganda, sometimes we watch perhaps on television, where we see the Chinese and the Russians, they are holding joint perhaps military exercise. So that is an example of propaganda. The reason why they are propagating such an exercise is perhaps to warn any other person that might want to attack them, to let them know that these are the perhaps the weapons that they have. Then when we talk about propaganda, we also refer to some religious institutions. They are also very good at propaganda. So sometimes people are sold what they call anointing oil, and they are told, if you use this one, you're going to get well. And sometimes we are also told that they turn water into oil, and others we're also told that they heal the sick. So all those are some of the examples of propaganda where you as an individual receiving propaganda messages, you do not question the person who is disseminating those messages. So, and for you as a public relations manager, you are a spin doctor. Now, they are referring to a coordinated strategy to minimize negative information and present in a favorable light a story that could be damaging. So you can also move in, for instance, at your institution, maybe there is a bad story or a crisis, so you need to move in to try and minimize the impact of that negative story. So now when you look at propaganda, it has three types of propaganda. So the first one is called white propaganda. So white propaganda basically comes from a source that is identified correctly, and the information in the message tends to be accurate. This is what one hears on radio and read in newspapers. Now, what they're basically saying with white propaganda is this, that especially in some countries where we have some governments controlling the media, so a person will come up with a propaganda message and use the media to disseminate that propaganda message. For instance, maybe a minister or maybe a president can use the media to disseminate whatever they want to disseminate, but it is still propaganda, except it is called white propaganda, which is coming from a source that is well known. Then we also have what we call black propaganda. So this is when the source is concealed or credited to a false authority and spreads lies, fabrications, and deceptions. So black propaganda is the big lie, including all types of creative deceit. Now, with black propaganda, sometimes we just see these videos on YouTube, or we see these videos that are shared online, and we don't even know the source where it is coming from. That is what is referred to as black propaganda. But even that propaganda, there's someone who is trying to propagate his or her own ideas. Then we have the last one is called gray propaganda. So gray propaganda is somewhere between white and black propaganda. So the source may or may not be correctly identified, and the accuracy of the information is uncertain. So gray propaganda is widespread. We see the companies, most of the companies that distort the contents of their annual reports. That is white propaganda. We have also seen some advertisements in the newspapers that perhaps claim things that they cannot do. That is also called gray propaganda. We've also watched some films. The best example is Mandela film, where they portray Mandela to be a good guy. That is also considered as gray propaganda. We also have some other products where they do advertise. So basically, propaganda is you propagating your own ideas. And for you, as a public relations practitioner, you might use gray propaganda, you might use black propaganda, you might use white propaganda. In a way, the reason why you're doing that is to try and create a good image, to try and turn the negative image of your institution into positivity. So we will end here on gray propaganda. Please don't forget to subscribe to my video so that you'll be able to receive more other videos. Bye bye for now.